Okay, so this is the second episode of spontaneous knitting, and as you can see, I have finished my sweater. It is very fabulous, but at the same time, well, I put it on a hanger, and so the shoulders are a bit wider than I thought they were, and the sleeves are a bit too long for me because I'm a short person and have not long enough arms. I've finished the sweater, and it's really soft. You have no idea how soft it is, but I live in California and the weather is really hot here. It's been like 100 degrees, so I can't really wear it to school or anything. But sleeves are a bit long, and let me just point out everything that's wrong with it. The sleeves are a bit long and it stretches out because I put it on a hanger to dry, and so it kind of slips off the shoulders a bit. But also I didn't realize how important the decreases were. So now one arm has this side, and I think that's supposed to be the back of it, and the other arm has that side. So you see one side have more holes than the other. And I think that's going to be kind of strange, but no one's really going to care, I hope. But I'm really excited to wear it to school. And also, speaking of school, as spontaneous as these episodes are, I won't be able to upload them very often because this year is going to be very hectic because of school work. So that's my sweater. That was maybe 2 weeks in the making, but I'm just now making the video. So, my sweater. And then also, I want to show you something that I made a while ago, but I want to show it to you because it relates to work in progress I'm doing now. This is a scarf, obviously. I love it. It's my favorite scarf that I've made. I used circular knitting needles, but I didn't knit it like circular. I sewed in the sides with a mattress stitch right there. And it turns out pretty nice. It turned out pretty nicely, except for a part where I somehow got a color, the blue, in the middle of the gray, and that wasn't supposed to be there. But this wasn't really a pattern. I just sort of made it up because I was obsessed with Criminal Minds at the time, and they brought up a mathematical sequence, I guess you could call it, called a Fibonacci code. And it's basically 1 plus 1, one row plus one row, equals 2 rows, and this last stitch, this last row plus these rows is 3. So 1 and 2 is 3. And then the last row in that one, 2 and 3, is 5. And then obviously 3 and 5 is 8. And then 8 and 5 is 13, and so on. But it does that twice, so it meets at the bottom, and gray and blue. This was a color from Knit Picks. I can't remember what color it was, but I really loved it, and I actually used the rest of the color because I had extra for an amigurumi doll I made for my French teacher because she was retiring. And then this was just I think it was a Caron Simply Soft. Can't remember what color it was because obviously this was made a while ago. But anyways, I want to show you that because this is the size of a scarf that my cousin wants me to make for her. And I think it's about 60, it might be more than 60 inches long, probably like 70. I don't know how I can get that mixed up, but I haven't really measured it. So 60 or 70 inches long for this scarf. And she wants this color, which is called, she wants stripes also, but she wants it the same length, not the same sequence, of a scarf with the color called Peacock from Knit Picks, and it's really soft and it's really beautiful. It kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's blue, greenish. It's called Peacock. I don't know if I'd really consider it peacock though. So she wants stripes of, she wants it to be the length of the other scarf, probably 70 inches. So this blue, green-ish color and this gray color. So that's what I've been working on lately. And I haven't gotten very far because, like I said, school. But I'd say maybe I'm a 1/10 of the way there, maybe? Probably a bit farther along. But I like to think I have less so that my brain says that I need to knit this faster and get it done. It's kind of like setting your watch fast so you can get places on time better. And so that's this. And so far it's going to be really plush. I can feel it. And I'm sewing it the way I sewed the other one, or I'm knitting it the way I knitted the other one, with just stockinette stitch with the two colors and tying them off on the edges. And then I'm gonna do a mattress stitch inside out so that they go together. And it'll be much like this one. But if you were ever wondering what happened to my project with socks, I did not finish all 4 colors. I did the country stripes one. That is really large. It doesn't shrink when it dries. I tested it out, so cotton, at least this company of the cotton, it does not shrink when you wash it. And I'm not really sure how to feel about that because I actually made it too large, so I tried sewing it smaller on the inside. That didn't really work. But I don't know, maybe cotton just isn't the type, or maybe this yarn is just too thick for what the pattern was calling for. But it turned out better than the first pair I made, which was way too big. And so I edited the pattern to fit my foot a bit better with these colors. I'm so sorry, I can't remember what color this was, but it was by the same company. But it kind of reminds me of clouds, just because, like, all the white colors, and then the skies sometimes are really pretty purple, and then the blue and the white for clouds, or the dark gray for clouds. But it's really beautiful. And this one fits a lot better, but it still doesn't fit perfectly. And sadly, I don't think any socks that I make with this type of yarn will be able to be used as socks, maybe slippers during the winter. And I did not get around to doing the purple socks and the green socks because I was kind of tired of doing that and I didn't want to try a new pattern for it. So I started on this scarf for my cousin because it's a bit more simple and just kind of mindless knitting. I didn't really want to think about it when I was knitting. So I don't have any new socks to show you, but I did finish this one because I hadn't started that one earlier. And I decided that I'm going to make the purple and the green socks longer socks, maybe past my ankle, because these are sort of ankle socks. I was thinking maybe they'd go a few inches higher because those rolls have more yardage, and even with this roll, I didn't use all of it. So I'm thinking of finding a toe up pattern that I can use so that I can just keep knitting until I run out of the yarn, so that I don't have to guess how far along I have to cut off this making the cuff. So there's that. And one more thing, not a very long episode because I don't really have much to show, but this color, Super Saver Red Heart yarn, red. I don't really know what to do with it. It's sort of just really bright and scratchy because this is one of the first balls of yarn that I ever bought, and I didn't realize the importance of the quality of the yarn you're going to be using. I don't even know what I bought this for. I think maybe I was trying to make a stuffed animal crocheting, but it didn't work out too well, and now I don't know what to do with this yarn. So if anyone can tell me what you do with your scrap yarn, I will happily take suggestions. And I want to say before anyone posts anything, I am not going to make those little star puffs. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna spend all my time with my scrap yarn making a hexapuffs. That's what they're called. They're hexagon puffs. You make 2 hexagons out of the same color. You sew them together with a little bit of stuffing in them, and then you're supposed to sew all those together to make a giant blanket. I will not be doing that because the weather in California it will pretty much never get cold enough where I will need something that puffy and heavy, and I frankly don't want to spend the time doing that when I could make what I believe is a much nicer blanket, maybe an Afghan, like crocheting. But no Hexapuffs, please give me some suggestions for this color. And let's see here, what else have I finished? The other day I found this. It was the first thing I tried to crochet because a few years ago I learned to crochet, maybe like 4 years ago, and I wasn't using any patterns, but I decided I wanted to try making fingerless gloves, and I couldn't do that. So it's basically just a sleeve with a hole in it for your thumb, and it's not that bad except for the color and the fact that no one would wear it, but it fits very nicely. I got that part down. But I did too many double crochets right here, and so it's really wide, and no one's thumb is that wide, so obviously that didn't work out. But I thought it was kind of interesting to see how far I've come from making a really horrible fingerless glove to occasionally selling these really adorable stuffed animals that I will show you later that people love. I don't really know if they love them, but they buy them, so maybe it's just pity buying. But yeah, this is like my first start with yarn. I started crocheting before knitting. Seriously, I started seriously crocheting before knitting, and this was how I got my start. So I started with crocheting just squares, and then I did this, and then it moved on to stuffed animals, and then I started knitting scarves, and I have yet to knit anything but scarves and hats. But going back to this scarf that I was showing you earlier, I decided to make this hat, which goes along with it. And it's really nice. I love this hat. It was my practice hat for when I wanted to learn how to make a hat, and I thought it looked really nice with this. So this also has the sequence that I was going for, except for the one row of blue right there, because I didn't think I was going to be able to get enough blue in it, because I really love the blue. But so it has 1 and this imaginary 1 row of blue. 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, and then there wasn't enough. This is the center. There wasn't enough to add any more rows. But what I was really proud of, besides making a hat, was doing this. 2 knit, 2 purl, 2 knit, 2 purl. This was my practice for purling, and I think it turned out really nicely, except for the fact that I was supposed to use smaller needles for this one so that would stick on my head a bit more. But it actually works really nicely because the weight kind of keeps it on anyways, and I'm not doing any strenuous activity that it would need to do anything. So that hat, this scarf, I think they're a pretty good match. Obviously not for summer days like today in August, the hottest month of the year. So hat, scarf, working on a scarf, 2 socks, and yarn. Don't know what to do with this yarn. But this is the yarn that I'm going to be using for my higher knee socks, and I was hoping to get started on that after I finish this. But I also want to try brioche stitch, so I was thinking maybe this will just be practice yarn, but I would like to have some actual good come out of it. I want to be able to make something with it, I just don't know what. So thanks for watching. I don't know if anyone really watched this thing the entire way through, but if you did, you're a trooper. I thank you for that, and I hope you enjoy knitting. There's no question for the end of this episode, just episode 2. Things I'm working on, things I have previously made, and my complete success over here. Oh yeah, complete success. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing, haha, funny. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.